A game within a game. Gameception. Breaking down the fourth wall in marvelous dulcet undertones and self-aware character feedback. It's cute. That's really the only appropriate word for it, is cute. But is it fun? Yeah? Knights of Pen and Paper Plus One Edition from Paradox Entertainment was released on Steam on June 18th. This is a port of the mobile Knights of Pen and Paper game that's available right now for iOS and Android. Knights is a tabletop Dungeons & Dragons style game fleshed out into a classic turn-based RPG. To begin, you choose a handful of characters and classes, and then the Dungeon Master starts you off on your journey to defeat the Dark Mage and save Default Village. Yes, it's actually called Default Village. If you played the mobile version of this game, you're not likely to notice very many changes. The biggest addition is the Tavern, which allows you to swap out your characters and even add new ones in the middle of your adventure. These characters, and just about everything else in the game, cost a fair amount of gold, which you get, of course, from killing monsters. Gold is scarce early on, and the mobile aspect takes that opportunity to rear its ugly head in the form of microtransactions. You can buy 300 gold pieces for $1 or 10,000 for $5. While this is completely unnecessary, a game that already costs $10 really shouldn't need to include something like this. Of course, you can choose to completely ignore this aspect and slog through it the way an old-school RPG is meant to be played. Knights of Pen and Paper is a bit of a grind fest. You can make your way well enough through the later stages without buying too many upgrades, but you'll likely have a pretty tough go of it. Buying upgrades from the blacksmith, upgrades for the blacksmith, equipment, healing items, paying travel costs, buying new gear for your playing space, all of it costs a pretty gold piece. As far as the actual gameplay is concerned, Knights of Pen and Paper is considerably bland. The Plus One edition adds quite a bit of additional content, stretching out the total playtime by a few more hours. Combat is turn-based, and turn order is defined by the numbers above your characters and below the enemies. Each turn you can choose to attack, use a spell or item, defend, or run away. Each character class has 3 to 4 abilities to choose from, along with passive skills you can upgrade as you gain levels. Classes like the Mage and the Rogue utilize powerful offensive spells, while the Paladin and the Warrior are good at soaking up damage and drawing the attention of the enemy. It's all par for the course in an RPG and made just a little bit cheekier by the addition of the tabletop elements. Unfortunately, the only real inclusion of random rules and other kind of tabletop gizmos and gadgets are in the traveling and sleeping, where rolling below a certain threshold results in a random encounter. If you want to judge it purely by length, you can sink your teeth into this one for a long time, but to be honest, it just becomes dull after a while. It's funny, and the disparity between the characters is entertaining enough, but unless you're a point-and-click RPG connoisseur, taking down enemies turns into a trivial, mundane affair. The spells are neat for the first few hours, but don't really have much depth beyond that. You simply upgrade them statistically until they've reached maximum power. You do the same with your equipment and weapons, spending money on blacksmith upgrades and hoping that the staggering price actually pays off in the form of a new sword or shield. The soundtrack and art style are pretty rad. I'm a bit of a sucker for pixel art and 8-bit tunes, so Knights is right up my alley in that respect. There are a ton of homages to the industry as well, from Nintendo controllers in the walls of an ancient temple to an entire village dedicated to Journey, aptly named Journey Village. You can even pick up the game's developers as playable characters. If I were playing Knights of Pen and Paper Plus One Edition on a mobile device, I'd probably love it. It's a perfect time sink, and it would be great for playing on the bus or during a flight. Unfortunately, without a few tweaks to the gameplay, it does little to keep me interested on the PC. And even though they're completely unnecessary, the inclusion of microtransactions for a $10 game just makes it feel a little dirty. If you love old school RPGs, retro art and sound, and paradox style humor, I recommend checking this out on mobile if you have the option. But there's just not enough for me here to vouch for its playability on the PC. But then again, what do I know? I barely played it.